How do we define an absolute stability? Absolute stability means that there is absolutely no micro motion occurring at the fracture site under normal physiological loads. Now, both these terminologies are important. There is no micro motion as well as this is under normal physiological loads. If a non-physiological load is given, any bone might refracture and there might be motion at the fracture site. But as long as the body undergoes physiological loading, there will not be any movement at the fracture site. This is mandatory for absolute stability. So it requires open reduction and anatomical reduction of the fracture. There should absolutely be no gap at the fracture site. Since if there is a gap, it will heal by callus, and we do not want callus in articular fractures. The best method, please note, we're talking of the best method of producing this, and sure shot method is by having an interfragmentary compression. That means by using a lag screw. For the concepts of the lag screw, the screw needs to be perpendicular to the fracture line. So if we have a bone which is fractured in that direction, our screw needs to be perpendicular to the fracture site to achieve interfragmentary compression, leading on to absolute stability. And we have realized that absolute stability leads to direct bone healing. That means there will not be any callus. How do we achieve absolute stability? The four ways of achieving absolute stability are by a lag screw fixation. This could be coupled with a neutralization plate. So lag screw plus or minus a neutralization plate, and we have known that this is the best method of achieving absolute stability. We could achieve the same stability by compression plating. Compression plating means in a plate we use eccentric screws and achieve compression at the fracture, or by using a buttress plate. So in the buttress, due to the location of the plate and which prevents the deforming forces, it achieves absolute stability. And the other method of achieving the same is a tension band wiring. So if we could see that any method that we use in articular fractures gets us absolute stability. Tension band wiring, whether we use it in olecranon or patella, which are articular fracture. Buttress plating, which is often used in proximal tibial fractures. The compression plating that could be used in forearm shaft fractures, which were considered to be a type of articular fractures, and lag screw, especially in spiral fractures, where we could achieve interfragmentary compression and then neutralize with a plate. These are the ways to achieve absolute stability. One point to be noted is a misconception in few residents that if we increase the number of screws in a plate, or if we increase the number of screws through a nail, it will achieve absolute stability, which is wrong. The only ways of achieving absolute stability are these four: just by increasing the number of screws or even the number of plates. It does not lead on to absolute stability. We are just increasing the rigidity of the construct by increasing the number of screws or the number of plates we are using, but we will not achieve absolute stability. Then how do we define a relative stability? Relative stability means that there is some motion between the fracture fragments. This must be below the limits of tolerance of healing bone tissue. That means the fractured fragment should move, but not move so much that the bones don't heal. There has to be some motion occurring which will enhance the fracture healing. The best methods to produce these are by extramedullary or intramedullary splints. In relative stability, we know that the fractures heal with callus formation since it leads on to secondary bone healing. So the concept is in multi-fragmentary fractures, then that is when there is too much comminution and lot of fragments, the overall load is distributed between these fragments. When we have a transverse fracture or a spiral fracture, all the loads are dissipated at the fracture and there will be exaggerated movements. Whereas if we have a comminuted fracture, the load is distributed within these fragments and hence the relative movement of the fragment as with compared to its parent bone is not great, unlike a transverse fracture. Hence, all we need is some flexible fixation which will maintain micromotion, stimulating callus formation and hence fracture healing. So when can we opt for relative stability? We have understood that any non-articular fracture, especially if it is multi-fragmentary, we could plan for relative stability. How do we achieve relative stability? There are many ways of achieving relative stability. In fact, there are only four ways of achieving absolute stability, and any other method of fixation or splinting will lead on to relative stability. The cast, the splints, the traction, external fixators, all plating apart from compression plating and buttress plating, the nails that we use, the bridge plates, all of these are examples of relative stability. In all of these, we do not intend to anatomically reduce the fracture. We just see to it that the length, alignment, and rotation are maintained, and we allow some flexibility, we allow some micro motion, and see to it that the bone heals in the functionally reduced position, and hence the patient can have a good functional outcome.